So I didn't see myself making another video about WasabiCon, but there's some new information that came out and I feel like I should talk about it. But before I get into that, I want to thank everyone who watched the first video and shared it and has gotten a discussion going about this. I think it's really amazing that we as a community are coming together and speaking up about this and just getting the word out and having a movement about it, from what I've seen. I understand my video is a bit disorganized. That's a little bit on purpose to make people's testimonies stand out more. You can refer to testimonies later or earlier in the video to verify one another. I did consider putting similar stories or the same story all into one category, but I decided against it ultimately, just because, again, I didn't want to rob people of their individuality, even though they are remaining anonymous. I also understand that security, ADA, and food aren't necessarily handled by WasabiCon. That's more on the convention center. However, I do want to say that while WasabiCon can't really do much about the food and the ADA, the security still represents WasabiCon. They, even though they work for the convention center, I assume, they still represent WasabiCon. It's one of the first interactions we have of the day as congoers is going through security. And if we talk to a bad security guard, that's going to put a damper on the rest of our day. There was a testimony that echoed that exact same sentiment. Now, for what WasabiCon can do, they can take some responsibility for this. They can also have better communication with the security in general. Again, I'm not too versed on the behind the scenes of the convention, but I feel like there's something that could be done to improve security at these conventions in general. There's some more stuff I can talk about in regards to that video, specifically some stuff that happened behind the scenes, but I'm not going to get into that now. I want to talk about what actually happened. So, if you're not aware, WasabiCon posted on their Facebook a photo that was an upskirt of a minor. This happened last week, and it happened at 8 p.m., which is like prime time for a lot of people to be home, already eating dinner, and just checking their social media. So this was around the time where a lot of people would have seen it. And a lot of people in the comments were pointing out, hey, that's a minor, and that's an upskirt. You need to take this down. And it got to the point where the person involved in the photo also said something, and for some reason, their comment got hidden. I don't know how Facebook comments work or how that works, but it's still suspicious something like this happened. And it happened not long after I commented, so I don't know if that's on Facebook's side or something else is going on. But case in point, WasabiCon was getting a lot of comments about it, and they took the post down the very next morning. After their takedown, people noticed that the person in the photo wasn't getting any kind of apology or any kind of compensation. So people in the Discord server were very upset at WasabiCon for essentially trying to sweep this under the rug while, not trying to work with the victim or try to apologize to them or anything. And people were typing messages essentially calling WasabiCon out. I even got in it myself since I saw this happening live. And WasabiCon kept saying, stop talking about this, the situation's handled, essentially trying to shut us up. So I checked later and I noticed the channel basically got nuked from messages from the last few hours or so, and I was timed out for about a week. I also heard about other people being timed out. I think I also heard about some people being banned. And it's like, again, they're trying to silence us for essentially saying, hey, it's never a how can we help / make this right. It's always a, well, according to our rules. It's just, from what I understand, the victim still wasn't compensated, and they were kind of blaming the victim for this happening. Like, oh, you consented to your photo being taken while at our convention. Yeah, I don't think they consented to a upskirt of them being posted on their Facebook. Like, you just don't do that to someone, even if they weren't a minor. That's still extremely messed up. It just baffles me something like this even happened, and like how they're handling it is just awful. So from what I understand, the photographer made a few edits to the photo before sending it off to WasabiCon, and they claim, oh, well, it was just a few clicks. Well, the photo still was individually taken out. There were like 3 or 4 people this could have gone through, and nobody caught it. Like, you guys still posted it without even looking at it? When you post something on a company's social media, the goal is to make the people in the photo look good and to make your company look good. This is not a good look for WasabiCon, especially with how they're handling the situation by essentially trying to minimize talk about it. If I was a parent and I saw this on my Facebook feed, I would not want my child going to this convention. There's some other things that happened, such as Portland WasabiCon being put on indefinite hiatus, as well as an update to their policies on their website, which basically said, hey, if you talk to a judge before the cosplay contest about your cosplay or how you made it, you may be disqualified, which, again, it sounds like you're blaming your attendees instead of taking responsibility. And from what I understand, something like this happened or prejudging. I don't know what led to this, but again, it sounds like WasabiCon isn't willing to take responsibility. And there was also evidence of judges biased in some of the testimonies I read out alone, as well as some other stories I have seen. Before I wrap this video up, I first want to give a thank you to seijicosplay, I hope I'm saying that right, for putting out a video on both Instagram and TikTok covering this entire situation. It's amazing that a larger content creator is getting the word out about this convention as well. So again, thank you from everyone in the community for sharing the word about that. So yeah, that's about it. I don't really have much more to say. I just wanted to give a small update about what's going on. So yeah, bye.